There's not a thing for me that's not the concern of meditative life. So I don't have it in any little place in my life right now. Not to call those places little, but in my opinion, I can't pick a compartment. Meditation has to be the way I speak to my son, my daughter, the way I practice relationship with my wife.
Hi, I'm Kate Yurenda, and we're here at BTS Presents. Thank you for joining us. I'm here today with David Wright of Hidden Peak Tea House, and we're enjoying some delicious tea, and we're about to have an amazing conversation about the tea and what David's about.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Let's do that.
All right, so what are we enjoying here, David?
This is a poor aged tea that's stored in bricks, oftentimes since the ancient days, and it can be aged like a vintage wine up to 100 years. This is one from the 1980s, made by senior tea masters in the Himalayan foothills of Southwest China.
Very nice. And how did you get into tea?
That's a great question. I wish I had an answer for you. I don't know. It just slowly infused into my life over so many years, it's hard to point. But there was a moment here in Santa Cruz where I was introduced to this Kung Fu style tea ritual with the pu'er tea involved, and that really might have been the super ignition moment. That was around 1998 by a good friend named Wayne.
Very nice. And then how long have you had the tea house?
The tea house currently we've had 7 years.
7 years?
Yes. Yeah.
Nice. And so you want to explain a little bit about the ritual, what you usually discuss with people at the tea house, the process that you run them through?
Definitely. Yeah. I don't know where to begin quite.
I know.
With the time we have here today, there's a lot that could be said, so any interest you have in it, I'm certainly...
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I know that a lot of times you have to wash the tea, and you go through, certain steps. You want to explain that a little bit, why that's necessary?
Oh, we talk about washing the tea. Yeah, it's something I already did before we started rolling here. We rinse these teas when they've been stored for a long time to clean them off and fresh them up. And it's something also akin to breathing wine in a decanter, where you let it oxidize a bit, oxygenate, and it starts coming to life and structuring itself to be very palatable. Not have much fight back attack, with like the astringent, bitter qualities teas can have and such. Yeah, and we're also symbolically with this practice, this very deep ritual from old times, with a lot encoded in it. You're washing away the cares and the worries also of the day, so you can really be here with your guest and, just drop in really. Yeah.
Okay, so when people come into the tea house, what's the experience that you really want them to enjoy?
Their own. You see, I don't want to preach that we're there for a reason, because I don't really feel that way. If there is a reason, it's to create a container. I want it to be like a sanctuary and a place where folks could find something in themselves. If I remove enough distractions out of the space and create a certain device in the space itself, then I'm just offering space. And that's cool, because I have people come to me and they tell me what they got out. But it's not necessarily like I'm leading them to something, I don't think. They found the tea house, they're going to find something in it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And for those who haven't been to the tea house, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful, beautiful. Just recently we actually filmed a movie at the tea house, the Superhuman movie. So very familiar with that space and the energy of there. It's just, you can't deny it. It's you walk in, you're like, oh, how come more places don't feel like this? It's beautiful.
Add to that a little bit. These teapots, when we use them, we don't wash them out. We let them stain. Like a cast iron skillet or a wok will make nicer food over time. These teapots, when you let them stain with the oils from the tea, they soak into the clay body because it's not glazed. Makes better and better tea. So as an analogy, I see the tea houses like that with humans. And the patina of what you feel in that room, it's palpable, nice human energy. Because so many people come and they have really meaningful human experiences there, and a lot of love and a lot of openness and a lot of community building and sharing and such. So that's very noticeable. People walk in and oftentimes they've never been, but they have this big out-breath moment just standing there.
Absolutely.
And that's not us once again doing anything. That's just they're finding in themselves, wow, this is spacious.
Right.
This is what I feel like in space.
Sure. Absolutely. Right, absolutely. But this isn't your typical tea either. This isn't just green tea or something like that. I mean, what makes this tea so special and unique? We were talking a little bit about it before.
Yeah, and not to be elusive, but honestly, we make the tea special. Sitting there on the table, it's, well, what's it going to do? Leave it there for 10,000 years, there it is, probably, in some form, maybe. But to gather a human that understands a tea, right, and a really good quality tea can do a wonderful thing. So I'm very interested in teas that are made sustainably, not hurting Mother Earth, not hurting other human beings. A lot of the industry, unfortunately, over the time period of the 20th century went into mechanized ways of kind of forgetting about all the things we really need to care about in the name of high production. So for me, that's a very important part of the intelligence of sharing this. And then ideally, once again, I'm dropping things to serve the tea well to you. And that would make maybe a special experience happen.
Yes.
You see?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And the data about the tea, that to me is extra. I oftentimes might ask a person, please meet her first. Let her talk to you. Then I'll give you data. But how about just the voice and the expression of the nature in the tea, harmonizing with yourself before the data? This data entry could skew the experience a little bit, you see. Yeah, people could get distracted.
Absolutely. Yeah. Very nice. And then we were talking earlier about our own individual practices with meditation and Qigong. Is this a form of or a part of your spiritual practice? I know it's a part of mine.
Yeah, and that's hard to say for me too. I'm sorry, like I said, to be elusive, but honestly, I can't find a place to stay with any of this. So this is always a meditation for me. But also, as with meditation, we have days on the cushion when we're really disgruntled and we've got all these like pains and these things distracting us that we can't quite get out of. Some days we can breathe through it and it's like we're in the expanse, right? So with the tea, oftentimes it's my meditation in noticing life, and so I would say all the time, but then I have to add every other human daily activity to that, and it becomes an endless list of daily activities, all calling forth my mindfulness and the necessity to notice what I'm doing so I don't hurt anybody. Right. And so with tea, even if I'm self-aggrandizing inside myself, not even saying anything to you, I'm not giving you pure tea. You know, if I'm thinking, oh, I'm a great man, and she's looking at me like some holy dude that's doing this special trip with this woo-woo thing, you know, then all of a sudden it's like I'm lost in some narcissism, and the tea is going to deflate in its potential to be a good thing to offer you, or a truly healthy item, you know?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, so all that contamination of the mind has to eliminate, along with the fact that this is grown from seeds, not clone. It's no chemicals ever have been near where these plants are, and the humans who make the tea are happy people. But that has to be combined with my intention at the very last moment when the tea is poured to your cup, because that's been through a long journey.
Absolutely, yeah.
And yes, please.
What are the healing components of this tea? You know, it's really great for digestion, but is there more to it that?
Well, physically, I mean, they have a long list of things this is good for. This pu'er tea in Germany and France in the 1980s, they did a lot of testing scientifically and found lowering unhealthy cholesterol levels, weight loss, any problem with stagnation in the system, cutting fats and grease out of the system while you eat or after you eat, which is why this is the main tea drunk with the dim sum cultures of Hong Kong and Macau and Canton. This goes along with heavy pot stickers, greasy noodles, all this stuff, because it creates an ability to move it through. Tibetan people would rely on this tea because they had an animal diet up at 16,000, 17,000 feet where they can't grow any food. And oftentimes, even though they're a Buddhist culture vowing to be nonviolent, they have to take life to sustain their life up there. In that, they wound up bound with an animal system. There's no movement because they were just mainly eating animal products. So this tea, when it came, was not only supplemental nutrition, because it's got an incredible list usually of minerals, vitamins, trace elements, all sorts of things that are in the tea. But then, along with that, there was incredible digestive, circulatory thing that happened. The list really goes on from there. Always coming back, however, to a fellow friend meditator, that the health benefit is in the doing and the attitudinal activity. That's health, because you can be going to a gym and following the perfect diet and doing all these things, but if your mind is contaminated with resenting people and staying stuck in your grudges, how much health is manifesting? And what are we really doing? So I always have to bring it back to that.
Absolutely. Well, those are my favorite topics. Intention and manifesting it. That's what I study all the time, because that is our day-to-day existence. That's our reality. It's everything is intention. I mean, whether it's your food or social interactions or what you want to manifest, it all comes from within. So I love that the tea, you see such an obvious response to that, the intention. You know, and I think a lot of people that go into the tea house would have beautiful intention, you know, to bond with somebody or to, I'm sure you get a lot of couples in love. I mean, it's just such a romantic,
a lot of first
beautiful
dates too.
A lot of first dates.
Safe container.
I could see that. Yeah, I could definitely see that. That'd be an amazing first date to go grab some tea. You know, and I personally would love to see more people in society get into tea and get into these more, you know, ancient healing practices and really slow down. And you said mindfulness. That's the perfect way of saying it. Is when you're having the tea, you have no choice but to slow down and really be in the moment. It's beautiful.
You really think you have no choice?
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, the tea's hot. You have to drink slowly. You know?
This is an interesting, because the mind can be racing so fast while the body's doing all these spiritually correct things. You know, how many classes do we go to where people are doing the perfect thing and they're just like, "Wow, I'm the best." Look at that lame one over there. You know, you know what I mean? So we got to get real. We got to call ourselves out on these things, right? But you know, there's an ancient saying in China that Zen and tea are one flavor, or Zen and tea are one taste. And Zen is a derivative word from Japan of the word that was Chan, which was a derivative word in China from the Sanskrit origin, which is dhyana, which is meditation. So dhyana, when it was transplanted to China with the sitting meditation practice of Bodhidharma, was basically the way of meditation, the way of cultivating through meditation, through sitting practice, through really getting to watch your mind. Why would they say out of all products in the world that it's tea that is that? Right. They don't say corn and and Zen are one thing, although of course they are. But there's something inherent in this process that from ancient times, for some reason, tea becomes potentially ceremonial, ritualistic potential for engaging the mindful activity in daily life, because it's a worldly doing, but it has a transcending quality, something about, I think, the plant medicine and the affiliate nature of the plant ally tea as a plant species. We have this symbiotic relationship where it encourages us to notice where we are and what we're doing while we're there. So it's fascinating.
It's very fascinating.
Yeah, it's interesting. Friend T that we have traveling with us through time, she whispers in your ear, yeah, it's okay to stop. Yeah, it's okay to slow down. Yeah, it's actually fine just to be here. There's nowhere to rush off to. And that's the benevolence of the allied plant, right? The actual plant herself, she tells us what we need to hear, what we're always wanting to hear, in a way where we actually hear it.
Very nice. Well, I'd like to go deeper into the energy, the intention, manifesting, all those topics, but first, we'll invite our other guests out here, David Rodriguez and Lisa Westby. So we'll be right back. Thank you so much. Hi, and welcome back to BTS Presents. Today we are here with David Wright of the Hidden Peak Tea House. We're also here with David Rodriguez of Valor Academy and Lisa Westby, a Law of Attraction coach. So we're going to have a little interesting conversation here today about human potential, power of the mind, just what humans are really capable of. So I'm going to start with Lisa here because I love the Law of Attraction.
It's so fun.
Absolutely. So what are your experiences with manifesting and power of the mind and how that could really help humanity?
Well, wow, those are
big
a lot of big questions. Okay. I came upon Law of Attraction maybe about a decade ago. I know it sounds really simple, and a lot of people watch The Secret, and I really feel that there's a lot of, writing your lists and making everything really precious, but really it's the art of allowing life to treat you well and allowing yourself to receive what the universe wants to give you. And it's a difficult thing to do because in this culture we're really told to focus hard on our goals and go really hard, and that is actually true in some sense. There are times in life where you need to dig deep and make things happen, and a lot of times when we're wanting things to happen we don't understand the flip side of that, where we need to focus on the receiving mode and allow life to love us and allow ourselves to receive what we've asked for. It's the art of intention. One way I think Law of Attraction can help humanity is that we all have a focus every day when we wake up. Are we focused on, what we appreciate or what's going wrong, or a combination of both? And it's really hard when the world has our attention and there's a lot of stuff going on that isn't very pleasant to focus on, and it takes a lot of energy to focus on what you want and the state of mind you want to be in.
Wonderful. And David, you want to tell us a little bit about Valor Academy and what you do to help children?
Yeah, so I'm a publisher of a book about the history of the school system. And so what's interesting, that parents, anyone who has a kid, I say the schools were designed specifically to create obedient workers and obedient military men. And so I was so amazed by the work of John Gatto, and so that's the problem. But then the solution is what I created through Valor Academy, and the philosophy is that the world is the classroom, and anything and anybody you can learn from can be your teacher. So kind of open source learning is the whole fundamental idea. Like a lot of parents think that schools or education ends like at graduation, but actually that's called the commencement ceremony. That means you're beginning. So helping parents understand that the learning process is lifelong, and so that's what Valor Academy is about, doing accelerated graduations, apprenticeship, hands-on learning, And I think we're beyond the point of needing to memorize all these facts and things that maybe some of us learned in school. We have the devices. So now it's about learning to be creative, be imaginative, tapped into our intentions like you guys were talking about. And so helping parents realize that, I think, is the goal.
Wonderful. I love that. And I love how you said that the world is our classroom, because that's really what it is. It's the human relationships, it's the travel, it's just putting yourself out there and trying new things. That's really where we get so much value. And I love how you mentioned the technology too, because David is so fascinating. He actually, if you want to explain it a little bit, but your take on technology.
I have to relate to it. It's the world I live in, and it's here. It's not going anywhere, and it's not my enemy. Mm-hmm. And there's something going on that we're all feeling that we're not quite sure. Such a quick transformation of every way of going about daily life after hundreds of thousands of years of cultivating neural pathways and understandings and daily rituals that are all being thrown into the wastebasket in the name of one way, to let a machine lead you in your daily life. I don't know what this implies. It could be leading to the greatest transformation of an altruistic world. I don't know. And I don't think there's anybody to blame.
Yeah.
I've never in my life, since I saw all of it coming early on and watching its approaching, I never have felt one intuitive knowing that I'm meant to participate. So I've never used a computer in my life, and I've never had a cell phone. And that's not a great thing. People oftentimes think, oh, that's so amazing. They say that. You said that to me earlier. And like I said to you, well, I'm the way all humans have been throughout all of our evolution until 30 years ago. I'm just doing that same old thing. I'm organic on the ground, walking around, seeing who I see, and just making the most of what I can. So at this point, I'm studying in a gentler way. I'm just curious about what it means for my children's world and all the beautiful creatures that are relying on us to do the right thing. So it stands in that question mark for me, but I love the way he just framed his understanding of education, is because it's a very similar way that I see it. Is that, yeah, we're here with this is what's going on, but we can do something. Human beings are incredibly available and endlessly potential, and everybody is just, what is the little couple pops and things that makes a person open up and think, wow, this is about serving others, not about always getting something from me. How do we see this change en masse?
Very nice.
There's my miniature take on technologies. It's a long discussion.
It is, and it's just nice to hear people even and talking about it and being open to it and questioning it, because it's so easy to just go along with what everybody else is doing, but the effects that it's had are undeniable. I mean, we've all seen it, right? I mean, it's there. It's something that we do need to talk about, and even on an energy standpoint, I mean, taking a break from it. I mean, how many of us can actually go a whole day without our cell phone? I know you seem to have that down, but could the two of you go a day without it? I mean, it's tough. I mean, you struggle with it, but it has negative effects that we do need to talk about. So, I mean, my big topic here, though, is definitely the human potential. What do you think humans need to be doing, or to kind of counteract that and counterbalance that?
Breathe.
Oh, yes, breathe.
I forget to breathe constantly. I think breathing is one of the best ways to stay present, and I know that I need to practice breathing all the time. I'm a shallow breather. I was even a breathing coach, and I'm good at helping other people help breathe really well, but it is something that you really have to stay present with, and it's tough because life wants your attention in other ways. David mentioned that the tea had a really long journey to get here, and I think that if we can sort of mirror that, where we just take a breath in each moment and are able to just take a second to find out what's going on in the moment, is really great, but it's difficult. And you've got to do a lot of intending to focus on that, because life will take your attention away from you to other seemingly more exciting things. But once you can connect to your breath, your life does start to shift.
What I would say is feel. We're so desensitized to all this drama on TV and all the propaganda and the war machine, all these things. But actually, the real technology is us, right? If we can vibrate with love, vibrate with peace, we actually can put that out there. And so we are the technology. And so to feel what we feel, and then to speak our truth. This is the thing I've realized in the last maybe 6 or 12 months. Like we see something's wrong or something's right or whatever our intuition tells us. But if we kind of hold that in because we don't want to offend people, or we want to, hurt our parents' feelings or whatever, like we have to speak. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. And this is the harsh reality. And it's a beautiful thing too. It makes life meaningful. that we're actually here to speak and to be, and I like how you said, like boots on the ground, or like connected organically, walking around, meet who you meet. This is a fast ride, and so we do have such good opportunities and challenges with technologies. But the fact that we can just discuss these things and share, tea and ideas, I think is so exciting, because we can do greater things. And I think this is the great lesson of true education, right? The root is educo, means to pull from within, to draw out. So actual education is not trying to like pour in, but to unfold and manifest actually. And the other definition I have for education is what we do to ourselves to create a good life. So this is why the one-size-fits-all education is terrible, because they try to give you a nationalized curriculum or state curriculum, say this is what your child needs, and so they do that from age 6 to age 18, the most impressionable years of our life, and so we get stuck in that model, and it's very disempowering. So I think the open source model of that you are potential and you can draw from within and vibrate and speak your truth is definitely a recommendation that I have for all my friends.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And can you imagine if education were more a focus on the power of the mind and manifesting, if we would actually learn how to tap into our innate superpowers and unleash that? And can you imagine what the next generations would be if they were all taught how to meditate, to do qigong, to do these practices, what we could really achieve as a global sensation. I mean, we could do anything. It's incredible. It's undeniable, for sure. So, Lisa, you want to talk a little bit about your manifesting or your practices? And I know you're into qigong as well.
Kate, you got me into qigong. This woman, she got me started on qigong, and I hope everybody's able to try it. It's one of the more powerful practices out there. A lot of times I need a moving meditation, so I took up surfing, and that really connected me back to nature. And earthing is another thing I'm really committed to doing basically every day, where I'm connecting to the earth energy. Because I'm on the computer a lot for work. I'm in marketing, I'm a coach, and I write things, and I do a lot of things on the computer. And I need a way to get connected to the earth, which is as simple as sitting on the ground and just putting your bare feet on the ground for 10, 20 minutes is amazing. It really does a lot more than you think. And I can feel the shift when I'm doing it, and especially if I'm dunking myself in the ocean or doing something even more connected to the water or the earth of the planet. And the other thing I wanted to say about earthing was it doesn't have to be precious. I think it's a great way to just get back into where we come from. You don't have to make it special. Just be there, space out, sit on the ground, be on your phone even if you must.
Right, just to clarify, you said earthing, so I've heard the term grounding is when you put your feet on earth or in the ground.
Like simple. I love that now we're at the place where we're like, the earth, you can touch it. It's like, this is what the world's come to now. It's like, you could breathe and you could touch the earth. Whoa. But that's essentially this.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, and that's where humans are right now. We need to reconnect. That's what I do love about the tea ceremonies. It brings everyone into the moment. No one's at the tea house texting. I don't think you're even allowed to have cell phones there. Is that
We're not allowed
right?
any digital.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. It's like the chaos stops and you get to really be in that moment. And the conversations that happen are so much more rich and present, and you really can feel that. That's the beauty of it. So it is about reconnecting, and doing that in any way that resonates, whether that is getting into nature more, or doing a qigong practice, or breath work, or meditation. Any of those practices, that's where humans, I think, really need to put all their focus on right now, for sure.
Yeah. What's the one that you think is most?
For me, it's the qigong. Qigong and manifesting, and I even taught that on the show once. The manifesting qigong, and just adding movement to the power of the mind and your intention, and really understanding the mind-body interconnectedness, and just putting everything on what you want instead of everything on what you don't want. And that's happening so much in our society too. We put so much attention and focus on the things we don't actually want to manifest more of, therefore actually attracting more of them. So that switch to, I can't even imagine the potential of humanity if we just made that one shift of, I am focusing on what I don't want. Why don't I switch that to what I do want? Slow down and find my own personal practice and lifestyle. As David had mentioned, it really is a lifestyle, full embodiment of what resonates and what works for you.
Would you say that's your super? Or what is your superpower?
That's one of them.
So many. This question is coming to both of you in a minute.
Yeah, it's definitely the manifesting, because I've dedicated my whole life to that, and that's all I love studying And it's such a playful thing, you know. You get to really co-create and to do that and to see the results. You're like, wait, I'm really powerful, and we all are. And we can, once you use that imagination and really learn to harness that, you're unstoppable. You can really see a lot of miracles and magic, and that's what I want for the whole world. So I know
your book details.
Yes.
And then the movie.
The Superhuman movie is all about that as well. Just human potential and really dedicating your life to experiencing that and really exploring what that is, you know, in full. So, David, I know you got some superpowers.
David
have superpowers.
I think it's just curiosity, you know. And the great Socrates said, he said, "There's one thing I know, and that's that I know nothing." So if he's considered one of the wisest men to walk the earth, and that's what he said, I think that's a good tenet to, like, you know, put my hat on. So, you know, that's the other kind of quote, is that the most disempowering thing is when you think you know something that's not true, right? So curiosity, seeking, and just trying to tap into my humanity, you know, like, seriously, the school system is so damaging, really is. So I disconnected to who I am, what I love to do, what I enjoy, and so tapping into that, you know, life is beautiful, humans are beautiful, and to remember that, you know, and just to experience love of parents or family or siblings or just strangers, you know, to put that out there. So I think curiosity and desire to express love is some of my superpowers.
Very nice. David, what would you say your superpowers are?
I don't know how, but I feel everything that's being said. I think my process is I'm undaviding David. And in order to do that, then there might be a real David here that could actually be just a servant of the necessity of whatever it is. You know, meeting it well like an Aikido, you know, like moving with the energies, even aggressive energies. How do you harmonize with them and allow them passage and transformation in the passage? You see, so accepting difficulties, I would say, is my prayer. You know, is that I get difficult things, which is a very unusual prayer to have, but my whole practice relies on that.
I wish more people were having these conversations and getting excited about our potential and where we can really go as human beings. You know, it's an exciting time in a lot of ways too, because we are tapping into these innate powers and realizing, ooh, there's another way of living. You know, and we talk a lot about that for sure, and we do too. So. Very nice. So thank you all for being here.
Guys.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for the tea. It was awesome.
Delicious.
Thank you,
David.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Very nice.
Yay.
Yes. All right, humans. Go humans.
I'm definitely pro-human. Team
Pro
human.
human.
Yes.
Very nice, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all very much for being here. It's exciting. Yeah. Thanks for the tea. It was so good. So good. So thank you all for being here and for joining us at BTS Presents.